So now we're going to factor a trinomial that you have to factor first and then use the trinomial factoring rules. Okay? So first, x cubed minus x squared minus 30x. First of all, we need to put it in the proper form. So we have to pull out anything they have in common. So we have an x in common. To the smallest exponent, and they all have x's. So we pull it out. And then now, we'll be ready to set it up. But first, before we do that, I have to write out what's left. So I have x squared minus x minus 30. So I factored out an x. So now this is in this form where I have a negative middle term and my constant is negative. My 30 is negative. So what that means is you're multiplying two numbers that are different signs. Remember, a negative times a positive gives you a negative. Different signs give you negative when you multiply. But also that means that your highest number, your highest factor, is going to be a negative one. Because you want this to subtract. That means you're subtracting. Different signs, you always subtract. All right? So we're going to go through that process now. So I keep my x. Okay? Now, we can split off this x right there. The x, this is the x from the beginning. Now, the x squared, that's just x and x. Now, I need different signs. So I could put negative, positive, or positive, negative. Either way, it doesn't matter. Now I have to find the factors of 30. Now, what gives me 30? 1 times 30. Remember, I said the biggest number would have to be negative. So I'll make that negative 30. And then I have 2 times negative 15. Also have 3 times negative 10. Anything else? 5 times negative 6. Okay, remember, it has to multiply to give you a negative 30. And it also has to subtract. Okay, that means you're using subtraction. If the signs are different, you're subtracting. It has to subtract to give you a negative 1. Negative 1. So which one of these, so they all multiply to be negative 30. But which one of these would subtract to give you negative 1? So let me write them down here. So you have your factors, and then the sum of your factors. Keep it real organized for you. Okay. So you have 5, negative 6, 3, negative 10, 1, negative 30, and then 2, negative 15. All right, when you subtract 5 minus 6, negative 1, 3 minus 10, negative 7, 1 minus 30, negative 29, 2 minus 15, that is negative 13. There we go. So which one gave you that negative 1 you needed? The first one, 5 and negative 6. So then that means your terms are 5 and negative 6. So that 6 goes next to the minus, and the 5 goes on the other side. Because it multiplies to give you negative 30, and it subtracts to give you negative 1. So we just factored out a trinomial in the form when your constant is negative and your middle term is negative. Now let's say it was the other way around. Let's say that your middle term, now this is another form, your middle term was positive. Okay? So then that means that your bigger number would have to be positive. Okay? So we can work this, we can change this around now. So let's go back through the process. And we had it factored out already, so I'll just write it back from there. So this right here becomes x times, and then we have x squared minus x minus 30. So the factors of 30, so let's write down the factors. And then the sum. Okay, so we know the factors. We had 5 and 6, 2 and 15, 1 and 30, 3 and 10. All right, now in this case, because the middle term is positive now. Middle term is positive. So now that means our highest number has to be positive. So that means the lower ones are negative. So then when you do this, you have 1. Find the sum. Then you have 13, 29, and 7. So now we need a positive 1 for your middle term. So then that gives us, still got the plus minus because they're different signs. Okay? So now our negative, this one gave us our 1, our positive 1. So we're using this. Our negative will be the 5 now, and our positive will be the 6. So we just factored out problem in the form when the middle term is positive. Okay? Same rule, you're just changing where the sign goes. Same process.